Hey, what's up, traders? To watch this video for Tuesday, November 12th. Today, the market was very, very dead. You see the very low volume, narrow range. I kind of expected that. I took a couple morning trades, but then the highlight of my day was actually went out and cut my grass while the market was open because there was just nothing going on. And I kind of expected that. At least tomorrow, today was like a bank holiday. The bond market was closed. So sometimes on a Veterans Day or a Columbus Day when things are closed but the market's open, I think the other one's Columbus Day. Anyway, sometimes you get kind of low float mania. Normal people that don't trade are home from work and able to trade. And sometimes it happens. I didn't see any semblance of that today, so hung out for a little bit and then got some yard work done. All right, so anyway, back to normal. Hopefully tomorrow. What are we watching? Let's go. Fuel cell. Let me zoom in a little bit here. So this had the big gap up on a deal with, I think, ExxonMobil. A couple days lower. Closed above its open on Friday and then trying to edge back up again today. Today's high 49. If you look at this would have been what? Thursday's high? Like 52 cents. And then up there, it might retest these highs and then you've got to break out over that. So I do like the way fuel cell, which is FCEL, is shaping up. So I want to watch that one. Wi-Fi, I've still got a line drawn at the high of, let's see, Monday, this would have been Wednesday, had this big pop on earnings and topped out at 1338, and it's been flagging ever since. Definitely going to watch that again tomorrow. SeaWorld had the big, that's SEAS, big pop, then an inside day, another inside day, definitely coiling here. It might also roll over, but I think it's worth watching for a possible upside trade. Remember, I only take a trade with a proper intraday setup, and I'm in cash every night. So AGRX had this is one of the weirdest looking daily charts I've ever seen, but had this huge squeeze for like 3 days, then the gap up, then it looked like it was rolling over. Now you got 2 green days in a row, kind of around the same area because of the gap down today, but holding up pretty darn well. This might have another squeeze in it, so I do want to keep that one on watch. Shake Shack finally put in a green candle today. That's SHAK. So I'm just looking for a continuation of the bounce tomorrow. CNST. This one had a huge range on, let's see, this would have been Wednesday also. Went all the way up from 16 to 45.42. Gave a lot of it back, but then put in a kind of a nice secondary day, quiet inside day on Friday, and then gapped down today and had an engulfing candle to the upside, a bullish engulfing candle. And another interesting thing, topped out basically at the whole number 35. I'll show you intraday. Look at this. It went up here, hit 34.97, and just came up and basically hit that again. So this is interesting to me tomorrow for a trade over 35. Let me go back to 5-minute candles. Just the way it was just really flirting with a 35 break. I'll pan out a little bit there. If we do break 35, you might get a nice move. You might get this continuation of this squeeze. Having said all that, it's certainly high up above the moving averages and what I would call short-term extended. Disney, just another red day after the gap up. I'm going to watch this one to turn back up tomorrow if we get a proper setup. NIO, after the massive volume day here, it's been like 3 or 4 days over. Look what happens when we switch to 15-minute candles. There's the huge day, and then the next day it gapped up. And oftentimes that burns everyone who chases it because everyone logs in the day after and says, man, I missed that huge move. And then next day it gaps up and tanks. Burns everyone who chases it the next morning. It's almost never a good idea, by the way, to have a big breakout one day and then have it gap up and just buy the open the next day, right? But here's what I look for. So the next day it topped out. I'm showing you 15-minute candles. It put in its high on the opening 15 minutes. The next day, same thing. Put in its high for the day in the opening 15 minutes. And the next day, same thing. And then today, same thing. So what I'd like to see is, some sideways chop like this and an afternoon high of day break where it breaks its early high. You might get a little mini squeeze, or, you might people piling in saying, oh, here goes NIO. Here it goes again. Remember the other day it was so strong and now it's lighting up the new highs ticker. And if you're sitting there watching it and you can get that kind of entry right while it's breaking its early high, sometimes you can get a nice move. So that's what I'm looking for in it, right? FOSL, this is just a really, really beaten up stock, FOSL. Gap down, Thursday, tried to bounce, and then another sell-off Friday, another sell-off today. Just a few days ago, I'm sure this must have been on earnings, just a few days ago, this was 13 bucks. I mean, it's almost been cut in half in about a week, so I do want to watch that for whatever you call it, dead cat bounce, snapback bounce. For a day trade, it might give me a trade. PRTK. Had this big pop here, and it's really just kind of coiling, right? Just kind of flagging. So I want to watch that one. CLVS, huge move on Friday. Then today, kind of a quiet day. Again, let me go to 15-minute candles. You'll notice it put in its early high in the opening 15 minutes. So what happens? Everyone who bought the break of yesterday's high first thing this morning, and by the way, I did, and I made a few bucks, but I played it really tight. So I thought if it's not going to rip again, I'm back out when it gets back to my entry. So basically, I had a flat trade in it. But it was still really strong. I mean, look at this move from 440 to 620-ish. And then today, actually, you could argue, held up kind of well. And this is another scenario where I would like to see a tight range and an afternoon high of day break, where it breaks its early high, and you might get another squeeze there. So that's what I'm looking for. If I don't get it, I don't have to trade it, right? And then MICT, this one's kind of obscure, but it had a big move on Friday from 68 cents to $1.20. So it almost doubled on Friday, and today put in an inside day that came close to Friday's high. So if it can break today's high tomorrow over 116, that might be enough to rip it through 120 and maybe come up here and test these 140 area. And that is it. That's all I have. We'll add some gappers to this list. But again, we had a bank holiday. Bond market was closed. So if you were frustrated at the low volume today, that's why. Tomorrow should be much more close to a normal day, whatever a normal day is as a day trader. All right, have a great night. We'll see you in chat.